On November 19, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation held a briefing, where General Igor Konashenkov spoke in detail about the situation in the Zaporizhzhia and Kherson directions. According to him, in the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian troops continued to successfully restrain the enemy near the villages of Verbove and Rabotino. Over the past day, the Russian army managed to repel more than 5 attacks by offensive formations of the 118th and 65th Mechanized Brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. It is reported that during these attacks more than 200 Ukrainian soldiers, 5 infantry fighting vehicles, and 2 tanks were destroyed. In the Kherson direction, the Russian aerospace forces and artillerymen continue to deliver pinpoint strikes on the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine on the right and left banks of the Dnieper River. As a result of these strikes, more than 100 Ukrainian soldiers, 7 infantry fighting vehicles, and 5 self-propelled guns of various types were destroyed near the village of Kakharovka and Frolov Island. Meanwhile, military experts began to express their bewilderment. According to them, attempts by the offensive units of the armed forces of Ukraine to finally gain a foothold on the left bank of the Dnieper River are doomed to failure, since in the current conditions, uninterrupted supply of these units is not possible. However, if we look at the Zaporizhzhia direction, the plan of the Pentagon and the Ukrainian military command becomes clear. The fact is that all attempts by the armed forces of Ukraine to gain a foothold on the left bank of the Dnieper River are designed to break through the Russian defense line by the Ukrainian army in the area of the villages of Verbove and Rabotino in the Zaporizhzhia region. According to this plan, this breakthrough will force the Russian command to transfer all forces to the Zaporizhzhia direction, which will allow the offensive units of the armed forces of Ukraine on the left bank of the Dnieper to move deep into the territory and surround the Russian grouping. Of course, this plan looks ideal from the point of view of military art, but the armed forces of Ukraine still cannot implement it. Instead, the Ukrainian media and representatives of the Ukrainian military department continue to spread information that the Ukrainian armed forces allegedly created a strategic bridgehead on the left bank of the Dnieper, and that an offensive on Crimea will begin in the coming days. However, even American military experts from CNN recognized that the actions of the armed forces of Ukraine on the left bank of the Dnieper River cannot be considered successful, since the Ukrainian army had to leave significant positions and at the same time, lose a large number of soldiers in order to stay on the left bank. Moreover, Western military analysts even began to call the recent actions of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kherson and Zaporizhzhia directions an act of desperation by General Zaluzhny. Even the American Analytical Center, the so-called Institute for the Study of War, was forced to admit that over the past 2 weeks, there have been no significant changes in the Zaporizhzhia direction. For such a long time, the offensive units of the armed forces of Ukraine could not advance even a few meters. All this means that the Russian army is also gradually seizing the initiative in this direction of the front. Moreover, military analysts have noticed that the Ukrainian command is no longer talking about a future breakthrough to the cities of Melitopol and Tokmak. This indicates that the Ukrainian generals have long accepted the impossibility of performing these tasks. At the moment, the Ukrainian armed forces are trying to seize a strategic height in the northeastern part of the village of Verbove and hold the line between the villages of Nestoryanka and Kopani in order to disrupt the logistics of Russian troops. It is reported that General Zaluzhny even called his American counterpart, General Brown, to report on certain successes of the armed forces of Ukraine near the villages of Nestoryanka and Kopani. However, according to insiders, the 21st chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles Brown, did not share the optimism of his Ukrainian counterpart. Insiders in the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine claim that during this conversation, General Brown told his Ukrainian counterpart that this is a real dead end, since immediately after these villages, the main and most powerful line of Russian defense begins. Thus, even the American generals who spent tens of billions of dollars in order for the armed forces of Ukraine to break through the first line of Russian defense, began to recognize that this was the beginning of the end of not only the counteroffensive, but also the offensive ability of the Ukrainian army.